Hey everybody, this is Jerry Shank. With me, as always, is Jamie Naill, Maryland Scouting Director for Prep Baseball Report, and this is Crabcakes and Baseball. Guys, you're going to have to bear with me a little bit. I'm a little bit under the weather. I'm trying to get all the coldness out of my head right now. So I'm gonna try to talk as minimal as possible, and so it's kind of weird when you try to attempt to host a show. But hey, we will go on. So you're just gonna have to listen to this annoying voice, made even more annoying. So just good luck with that. All right, let's get into our Power 25, Jamie. We're going to talk about Power 25 today. Finish up our top 10. The the high school season is starting on Tuesday, so by the time this pod is out, our season's underway. We are recording the day before. This is Monday right now. We're going to talk about our top 10. We're going to talk about a key player for each in the top 10. And then we're going to take a look at Scout Blog from last week. Got to see a lot of scrimmages, Jamie. Got to see a lot of players. And then finally, we'll be talking about our Team of the Week, which is a segment that we'll be doing every week here on Crabcakes and Baseball. So, again, I talked too much to start off. Jamie, how are you doing, man?
Well, I'm not sick, Jerry, so I'm doing a little bit better than you. But no, I'm doing great, man. High school baseball, for the public school starts tomorrow on Tuesday, so I'm really, really amped up about that. We have a huge matchup that I will be out at, so that's a little teaser. But I'm not going to give the game that I'm going to. But there is a huge matchup tomorrow, perennial 4A schools, lock and horn. So super amped about that.
And they've always had a good game every time.
Hmm.
I mean, it's always been epic, always
Right.
been epic. So, if you know who it is, if you know, you know, but you'll find out tomorrow, anyways.
Yeah.
All right, great potting right there by me. Let's get into this Power 25. All right, we're going to start with our work from 10 down to 1, and in our Power 25 at number 10, we had Middletown High School. Now, Middletown was an extremely young team last year. You had Hunter Barnes, you had Andrew Raymond, you had Freddie Diaz, Joey Nicholson, just to name a few of some really young core guys who really helped out that team. Jamie, who do you think is going to be a key player for the squad this year?
Yeah, so a player that really took that next step between his sophomore year to junior year, especially during the summer, was Andrew Raymond. Committed to George Mason. I think he's a leader behind the dish. He's a leader at the plate as well. If Middletown's going to make a deep run this year, Raymond's going to have to hit, and he's going to have to play well defensively behind the plate. So I'm going with Andrew Raymond. I think he's going to lead them where they want to go, especially with still a young team. Um, if Middletown is going to make a deep run, Andrew Raymond has to play well, which I believe he will.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely tell seeing him just this preseason, just the physicality that
Hmm.
was not there a year ago. You could really noticeable, and that goes for Nicholson as well. Just getting to see him this preseason, some really big guys. Let's Next question about the team. I'm a college coach. I just need a name to jot down. Who's an uncommitted player to keep an eye on?
Yeah, I have a tie here, and it's between Joey Nicholson, like you spoke about a few seconds ago, and as well as Freddie Diaz. So there's two uncommitted guys with Middletown that you need to go out and see.
I believe both are 25s, right? Joey's a 24. Joey's
24.
They're both 24. I'm sorry. I'm getting out of here. I'll blame it on the cough drops. They've been laced. Anyways, let's move to number 9. Another really young team. We got Broadneck. Jamie, who's your key player for this season?
Yeah, so I want to talk about Nicholas Sakali, and it's a loaded sophomore class with Broadneck. You have Sakali, you have Owen, Shooter, Hopkins, Swick. Like, they are loaded in that sophomore class. But Nicholas Sakali, I really, really, really like. He's ultra projectable. He's 6'1", 170 right now. The frame's still filling out. He's still adding strength to it. In the preseason this year, he has hit the cover off the ball. I've been covering. I've been watching the stats. I've been watching Game Changer, watching a lot of the games on the back end. It's a gap to gap approach. He's got a little uphill through, intent to do damage. He's a high contact guy. So that's an uncommitted sophomore in that loaded sophomore class, really across the state, that you're really going to want to circle.
You got another uncommitted guy that maybe you want to jot down real quick?
Yeah, I really like Ethan Hopkins. We saw him in the preseason as well. That's another guy to kind of circle as well.
All right. Moving on. Let's head to our number 8 team, and that's going to be Hereford out of Baltimore County. Great season last year in 2A, a deep playoff run. Didn't really lose a lot. And, you could argue that one of the deepest staffs within the state on the bump. Jamie, who you got? Who do you think's the most important or most key player to that squad?
Yeah, pitching is going to be Hereford's mo this year. Senior high point commit Liam Deal. We had him at the pro case last fall. It's a strong 6'4", 200-pound frame. Ball comes out really really well. It's going to be high 80s, low 90s. Occasional cut. There's a ton to like with that arm. It's a physical frame, like I said. So if Hereford's going to have success, obviously the pitching is very deep, but Liam Deal being that ace has to be successful this year if they want to make a deep run.
Yeah, for sure. Do you got an uncommitted player? Name to write down.
Yeah, I'm going to go with junior righty Jack Kinsey. That's another name to kind of circle when you're talking about Hereford.
All righty. At number 7, let's go to Montgomery County. We got Walter Johnson, Montgomery County, really deep on the bump this year. I think I'm just predicting you're going to be going in that direction for key players for WJ. Who you got?
Yeah, it's going to be senior Radford commit Leo Simpson. It's a high spin guy. We've talked about Leo in the past. Fastball's high spin, breakers high spin. If Leo is in the strike zone consistently, and he can really be WJ's ace this year, like we know he can, it's all about the feel for the zone. And if he can pump strikes, Walter Johnson's going to go deep, and they can rely on him to be their ace for a potential state title run. So if Simpson pumps strikes with that, upper 80s fastball and that high spin breaker, that's a ton to like. WJ is going to go deep.
Yeah. And for sure, as with all the squads in Montgomery County, they are going to be well battle tested throughout the year. All right. So going to number 6, you've got our defending runner ups last year in the 4A, Severna Park. Jamie, who's the key player for you this year?
Yeah, so he's a future games alum. I'm going with Angel Santiago Cruz. He's a two-way talent, middle of the order bat. I saw him last week in a scrimmage. The ball really flies off the bat. He's got plus power to all fields. He went down the line for a double in the game that I saw down the right field line, oppo double. So I really really like the bat. It's a mid to upper 80s fastball. He pounds the zone. He throws a bunch of strikes. He can spin it as well. So he's one of those top uncommitted guys in that 2024 class. And I think it's going to be a huge year for him. So that's a guy that you definitely want to circle.
Yeah, I remember watching them last year. They had one of my more favorite left sides of the infield, and they're both back this year too, with Seamus Patnod at third, Angel at short. So that'll be a lot of fun. Two good bats right there. You got an uncommitted name, and I think you got to was it you? You got to watch them just last week, and I think you got an uncommitted player for us to write down.
Yeah, junior two-way Sean Williams. He really, really opened my eyes. He really impressed me. He was up to 88 with the fastball. He went right center for a double at the plate as well. So that's definitely a name that you're definitely gonna, want to go out and see.
I'm sure that's going to be great, especially after losing Adams from last year's squad on the bump at Severna Park. See Williams step up. That'll be huge. All right, so number 5, um, it's going to be tough for anybody to pick up the season that Brendan Yagish had last year. Just an unbelievable year for Urbana. They're our number 5 team, but you've got still some really good arms. Who is your key player?
Yeah, so they bring back two out of the three of the three-headed monster that they had last year. They have Eli DeRosa Citron, and they have Keegan Johnson. I think the key this year is going to be Eli. If he can be around the zone and he can pump strikes and he can mix up and throw everything for a strike, it's really going to take Urbana to the next level. You know what you're going to get from Keegan Johnson. We saw it last year, and we have seen it throughout his high school career. We need a consistency from Eli, which I know he has it. And I think you're going to see a huge jump from sophomore to junior year. I think you're going to see a jump in the fastball. I think you're going to see the breaker thrown as more strikes. And if he can really lead that staff with Johnson, you're going to see Urbana, make a deep run.
That sounds That sounds good. And too, just to throw in some 2 cents, I've learned one thing recruiting, watching players, especially young players who maybe had come in more in a relief role and they're not quite used to it. Sometimes it can be a little bit challenging. So I'm sure him getting to be into that starting role, you're going to see that definitely come to fruition, like you're saying. All right. So now let's go to number 4. We've got our defending 2A state championship, Glen Elg squad. Relatively everybody's back from the team. Yeah, you lost a few, but we got him at number 4. Who's the key player for you, Jamie?
Yeah, Glenelg is definitely loaded on both sides. Obviously, a great coaching staff over there with Coach Tiffany as well. I'm going with junior uncommitted righty Zach LaFontaine. I saw him last week. Not his best stuff, not his best outing, but there's still a ton to like. There's a ton of suitors on him. I had a bunch of phone calls after the game asking about him. It's a mid 80s fastball. He pounds the zone. It's an absolute hammer of a curveball that he throws for strikes. So that's a guy that you want to circle as an uncommitted guy in that 2024 class that's going to lead Glenelg on the bump with obviously a bunch of other pieces with Landon Castor and Jackson Kelly, just to name a few. But LaFontaine, you're definitely going to want to circle.
All right. All right, now we're going into our final 3. Number 3, a team that we both had high last year, had a really great season, just kind of ran into the wrong place at the wrong time in the playoffs, run into a hot right-handed arm. But we're going to go at number 3 down in the Eastern Shore. We got Stephen Decatur. Jamie, who's your key player?
Yeah, we actually saw him last week throw as well and swing it a little bit. So I'm going with two-way Delaware commit Ryan McLaughlin. The fastball definitely took a jump since the last time we've seen him. I believe he was up to 90, 91. So he's going to sit in that upper 80s, low 90s range. There's a ton to like, man. He's one of my favorite players to watch. And, ever since I started with PBR, he's been a guy that's kind of, it's been a name that, I've watched a lot. He's going to have to be consistent on both sides of the ball if Decatur wants to finally get over that hump this year, which I think he will. So it's a guy that Decatur's going to lean on, and I think McLaughlin's up for the task.
Yeah, and Decatur definitely. They have a few uncommitted guys who are still available. So, Jamie, just give me one name. Give me somebody to jot down.
Yeah, AJ Cobb. Super super explosive. Love AJ. So that's definitely a name that you're going to want to go out and see.
Yep, speedster for sure. All right, going to our number 2 team, heading back to Montgomery County. We've got Walt Whitman. Seems like they're always up there in the mix every year. This year will be no different. Jamie, who you got as a key player?
Yeah, I'm going with their senior leader in Frostburg State commit Liam Bowen. He's an ultra competitor. He can get it done on both sides of the ball. Mid to upper 80s fastball. He's going to lead the staff, in my opinion, as well. Obviously, they have pieces on both sides that they're going to rely on. But if Bowen has the year that we think that he will, Walt Whitman is going to be a tough team to beat. I know that they had, kind of a heartbreaking end to their season last year, but with a lot of pieces back from last year's team, Whitman's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and Liam Bowen's going to lead them.
All right, and do you have a uncommitted player from Whitman?
Yeah, one of my favorite uncommitted 25s, and it's infielder Sammy Berman. So that's a name to circle.
All right. So that leads us to our number 1 team in our preseason Power 25, and that's going to be your defending 4A state champ, Sherwood. And it was a really impressive year last year, ended in a strong fashion as well. Jamie, a lot of the team is back. They did lose some big pieces, but they always seem to reload every year. Who's the key player that you see for this season?
Yeah, it's got to be Amari Allen. Obviously, the two-way talent is there. We had him out at the Super 60. He showed extremely well there. He has shown well in the preseason as well. I saw him on the bump. I saw him swing it. Um, he's the reigning PBR Maryland Player of the Year. We see another huge year for him. Again this year. If Sherwood wants to make it their third consecutive state title, Amari's going to have a big year.
Yeah, and then last but not least, is there another uncommitted guy that you want to talk about?
Yeah, a guy I've seen a few times this preseason already. Junior two-way Matt Chrisman. That's a name on both sides of the ball, on the bump and at the plate, and defensively. There's a ton to like there. So Matt Chrisman, circle that name.
There you have it, folks. That's our preseason Power 25. just took a look at our past top 10 right there, and let's head into our next segment. We're going to break this down real quick. Something that we just wanted to get started, get off the board, is our team of the week. So every week when we're doing crab cakes and baseball, we're going to have a team of the week. Kind of correlates with our Power 25. This week, obviously, public school has not started yet. Private school is kind of hit and miss over the past 2 weeks, just with the way scheduling goes. Sometimes the games count, sometimes the games are more of a scrimmage. So you don't really know. It's kind of hard to keep up, but we do know one thing, that we were able to name a team of the week from the start of the season last year, and that's going to go to our number one team in the Power 10 private rankings. That's Archbishop Spalding, the highest ranked Maryland team in our Atlantic region in for Prep Baseball Report. Had a really impressive week last weekend. Took two from Benedictine. They were number 11 in the Virginia Power rankings. And then they come back this week, take on PBR Virginia, ranked three team in the state, and that's Gonzaga, and came in there, come from behind, big victory. So off to a really strong start. We thought it was going to be a special season. It's off to that so far. So congratulations, Archbishop Spalding, team of the week for PBR Maryland in week one. Like I said, every week we'll do it. We'll do a short recap for each team and how they performed. But Archbishop Spalding is going to be our week one team of the week. Last thing we're going to cover right now, Jamie, I want just real quick, I want to talk about two players that you got to see last week. The first one, somebody that really came off as a special player to you, 2025 outfielder Michael Delgadio out of Loyola Blakefield. What do you got?
Yeah, he had a huge weekend. The ball absolutely explodes off the bat. It just the moxie and the confidence that he has at the dish. It's a strong arm from the outfield as well. But boy, like the way the ball comes off, it's different and it's advanced. And I can't wait to see him more and more as the spring kind of unravels. But that's definitely a name in that 2025 class. That was my first time really getting to see him with my own eyes. And that's a special, special player there.
Yeah, it looked like it. Just the video I got to catch was really good stuff. All right, next one I want to ask you about, another 2025. We got a two-way talent at Glen Elg, Nicholas Bellotto.
Yeah, I saw Bellotto last week. I saw him on the bump and I saw him at the plate. We saw him in the preseason, one of our preseason events as well. Really, really special player there. The two-way talent, I think it's going to last. There's a lot to like on the bump. There's some slight cut action with the fastball. It's in the low to mid 80s right now. There's plenty left in the gas tank there. So Bellotto and Delgadio are two names that you want to circle in that 25 class. That's obviously loaded in Maryland and Delaware. But those two names you're going to hear a lot and you're going to see a lot as well.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's Crab Cakes and Baseball. Thank you to everyone who are listening. Thanks for putting up with my nasally voice. Jamie, thank you as always for taking some time to not travel to a game and sit here and talk. I know that's what you really want to do as opposed to going out and watching more baseball. So thanks for doing that with us, man. For everyone, I'm Jerry Shank. That's Jamie Naill. It's Crab Cakes and Baseball. It's what Maryland does.